Our next guest, he just ran for representative in District 7 out of Sagal, and he lost. And I know him personally. I'm friends with his daughter, and I thought he was a shoo-in. He's respected in the community, and he didn't win that seat. I was pretty sad about that. Personally, I would have voted for him. I'm just not in his district. And so he's here today to talk about that experience. Please welcome Cornel Rasor.
A little bit of rain didn't hurt y'all. So how does it feel to be addressed by a loser? You know, we had 9/11. Washington had his own 9/11. It was September 11, 1777. And it's funny, now I'm getting off track. Let me start over. It was September 11, 1777. And Washington was outside Philadelphia. British General Sir William Howe was on a mission to capture the then capital of the United States of America, Philadelphia. He had mustered 16,000 troops for this effort against Washington's 15,000. An earlier skirmish with Washington's untested troops made him convinced Howe that he could take the capital. Loyalist traders had provided intelligence to him about some fords that Washington didn't know about on the Brandywine Creek that were not guarded. So the British force was split. 9,000 under General Charles Cornwallis and 7,000 led by Lieutenant General William von, I'm going to butcher this name, Kniphausen. That's okay, he's dead. So the Loyalist perfidy had wrecked Washington's plan to force Howe to engage him, to engage the Continental Army at Chad's Ford, where he held the high ground. Early morning intense fighting could not undo the flanking action that occurred. And so Washington had disregarded a scout's report that day. And by 2 p.m., the advance was confirmed. Washington committed all but one division against Howe, but it was too late. Before long, the Americans were in full retreat. With vicious fighting taking place in many locations, they lost the battle. Even Lafayette's help, which earned him simply a bullet in the leg, could not undo the damage that was done by those traitors. But the fatigue that they inflicted on the British prevented them from chasing the troops, and so they were able to regroup even though the battle was lost. So they lost the Battle of Brandywine, but who won the Revolutionary War? Why? It's a simple answer. They stuck with it. They didn't give up. So now it's February 14th, 1943. And Rommel, his Panzer Army, is advancing on Tunisia to deny the Allies control of Tunisia. And our M3 light tanks were no match for the German Panzers, nor were they a match for their rifles and their equipment. And that thing just shrunk, and I'm dead meat with my eyeballs. So Italian troops assisted the Germans, and between the Italians and the Germans, the Axis stopped the American attempt. And so the Battle of Kasserine Pass was lost by the American Army that day. But the weather and the steep terrain combined to help the Americans be able to regroup. The battle for the pass was lost, but who won World War II? Why? We didn't give up. Come on, I'm preaching to the choir, but sometimes the choir needs music too, don't you? Okay. So this is our calling, brothers and sisters. Don't give up. I just lost a battle. We're going to use the word battle. I'm using it symbolically. Charlie is still alive, and he's a good guy. I didn't shoot him. He just won in the race. We lose positions. We lose races, and we begin to lose heart. I work with an old stalwart who's been involved in the Republican Party since before there was dirt. And he and I are working on something to change the way elections are done in Idaho. And we talked on the phone the other night, and he was losing heart. I didn't know he could do that. And I actually had to shore him up a bit, say, come on, Lee, we need you. You got to stay in the battle. You know this stuff, you know it best. You're going to help us get this through. And so he said, what do you want me to do? He was asking me what I wanted him to do. He's been around since before I was born. So I said, you send that thing to the state, and we'll get it through. At any rate, long story short, we're going to work on that. So this is our calling. When the difficulties arise, as they certainly will, we've got to keep on. I use the analogy of battle only because it conveys urgency, drama, and need. I'm not in any way suggesting that our battles are anything but analogous. I personally believe that there are still enough protections built into this republic that we can win this back bloodless. We can win this back bloodless. Do not respond in kind. Face it, social media is a boiling pot that has the ability to undo you so that you're no longer effective when you respond the same way they're treating you. You are going to be treated like dirt. Don't do it back. Don't do it back. Be the bigger person. Respond carefully. The time for escalation is not now. Now, if it happens, I'll be right there with you. I will, as they say, have your six. I'm not a very good shot, but I'll have it. My wife is. My wife is. Be the bigger person. The time for escalation is not now. Do not adopt the tactics that we are witnessing online and on television. Be the advocate for freedom, even for those with whom you disagree vehemently. I think it was Voltaire that said, I may disagree with you, but I will defend to the death your right to disagree with me. We really need to believe that. That's what this country was founded on. That's who we are. There are attempts to silence us. You will see it when conservative speakers are shut down on campus. They're not even allowed to speak. We will not be silenced, but we will defend their right to speak. There's a movement to destroy historical records. This is crazy, just crazy to me. But to the victors go the monuments. And if we will not allow history to be erased, but we will maintain the right to differ. There is talk about diversity. You talk about an oxymoron. We must be about true diversity, diversity of thought especially. The implication is that society must be diverse, but yet you're required to think a certain way. You're only required to address me a certain way by the pronouns I choose for you. And you're not allowed to dissent from the as Tom Woods calls it, the 3x5 card of dissent. That's all you get to do. Whatever the New York Times says, that's how you can dissent. No, that's not who we are either. That's not who Americans are. Social justice, that's not diversity. That's totalitarian control. The social justice movement has become a religion in the worst sense, and you and I will be judged by that religion. It's an ideology that destroys and chokes everything it comes in contact with. Tell it like it is, but tell it like an adult. You must be ready to understand you will be judged by this religion. You will be. And you must learn to respond to those things that need response and ignore the rest, its noise, its chatter. Do not become like those who would force you into a mold. Do not attempt to force others into a mold. It's become a we-they paradigm, and that's not what America is about. America was about us. That's what I thought it was about. That's what I was taught. I actually went to a public school that taught civics 907 years ago. I don't think they know how to spell it anymore. I'm going to give you some advice. Take it or leave it. I hope you take it. Get your kids out of the government schools. Are there good teachers in that public school? Probably, but they haven't got a prayer. They haven't got a chance. We homeschooled our children back when it was tinfoil hat stuff. Even my parents went, "You don't have our support, you idiot." They changed their minds. My 3 children are productive members of society. They're homeschooling my 16 grandchildren. They're becoming productive members of society. And, you know, you hear an awful lot about socializing. Let me tell you something. If you can get along with your family, you can get along with anybody. I've socialized to the max. Consider a trade for your young adults. College does not have to be the norm. There are so many trades open that we need welders and plumbers and electricians and carpenters, and they could go to a trade school and be out of school within 2 or 3 years, maybe 4, earning an $80,000 a year living without any of the debt that has been attending. You can't believe how much I appreciate you folks showing up in this 46 degrees in mid-June. Who did this? I think it was the social justice people. Now, I don't want to understate the times we live in, nor downplay the problems. Understand that losses and difficulties will occur. They will often be followed by more losses and more difficulties. You remember the Battle of Brandywine Creek? Do you know what happened after that? Valley Forge. How would you like that? But at Valley Forge, those soldiers had steel infused into their spines. They came out of Valley Forge and they won that war. Now I'm starting to get emotional. Okay, back off. Recognize that what often happens to be a demoralizing defeat is the prelude to better things. Remember that battle we lost at Kasserine Pass? We lost it because of the poor choices of the Lieutenant General in that battle, Lieutenant General Lloyd Friedenhall. He was replaced with, guess who? Patton. Who won World War II? Patton. That's right. I guess I'm done. There's nothing more here. But I don't want to go over my time. But I am so grateful for you people showing up. It tells me that there's plenty of people in this, and that we're going to, this is America. We're going to win it back. You know what we did in Sandpoint? The Lions Club, who's been holding the 4th of July for just as long as I can remember, they decided not to have the 4th of July this year. A fella in our community said, boo, kind of like you did. And so he put on, we talked and he said, we're going to have 4th of July. Let's try and have at least a picnic. So we started out, we put a PayPal account. People could come into the Army Surplus store and donate. Guess what our community has done? We've got $24,000. We're going to have the 4th of July. And with people like you, we're going to keep having the 4th of July. God bless you.